Hello and welcome to this week's Beyond the Hub, where we talk about everything from sales to marketing to your business as a whole, all fueled by HubSpot. And today we're diving into cash flow, and we've got Jack Coopersmith with us today, who is the Commerce Hub go-to-market manager at HubSpot. Jack, for those who don't know you, can you tell us just a little bit about your history with HubSpot, how long you've worked there, and what you've kind of been doing?
Absolutely. And Bridget, of course, thank you for having me today. I really do appreciate it. So my name is Jack. I've been at HubSpot for a little bit over 8 years now. Had a number of roles at the company. I started actually on our customer support team, which is a very, very hard job. Definitely shout out to all of our customer support reps out there. From there, I then joined what was at the time the freemium team. So HubSpot launched a free CRM. We had no idea how to actually monetize it. And so per what HubSpot usually does is we took some humans who understood the product and understood our customers, and we threw them at the problem. And so I joined the team that helped figure out how we got people to adopt our free tools and then obviously scale up with HubSpot over time. That was a sales role, and then moved into the customer success organization again, focusing on new user onboarding and scaled onboarding. So it helps thousands of businesses get set up on the platform. I then moved over to product. So I've been on this Commerce Hub team for about exactly 3 years now, actually. December 5th, so almost exactly
Ah,
3 years now, which is awesome. And it's been a really interesting ride. I joined when we were actually not even when we were not even generally available. So we were in a private beta still with only a few users. And so it's been incredible to see the tools expand to the degree that they have. So I've been on this rocket ship with commerce now for 3 years or so. So it's been a really fun ride. I've had roles all over the place: marketing, sales, customer success, and product now.
I love that. I love having people come from HubSpot that have been in the trenches, in the sales role, like you've moved around. I feel like you guys know the people and the product better than anyone. So who else better to talk to us about cash flow today? So I know it's been in the news. Everybody kind of knows that HubSpot have acquired Cacheflow, but for people that don't really know anything about Cacheflow yet, can you explain who and what they are?
Definitely. So Cacheflow is a fantastic product with an absolutely fantastic team. So I'm so just unbelievably excited to welcome all of our new teammates to HubSpot. So anyone from Cacheflow, so excited to have you, and really excited to continue to get to know you folks and work with you all and see the impact that you all have on our product. So a little bit about the Cacheflow product that I'm really, really excited about. These folks have gotten really deep into CPQ specifically around really SaaS and SaaS CPQ and SaaS billing as well. So it's a robust CPQ product. Configure, price, quote. QTC is another term used here, which stands for quote to cash. Essentially, it allows for sellers to really easily create proposals that can then be signed, of course, and paid. Now, that helps the sellers' lives obviously close deals faster without having to manage a ton of different systems. Where the system really gets powerful, though, is what's underneath the hood. So the different governance and rules that you can set into everything. So for example, if a given discount is between X and Y, then have these different approval conditions. Maybe if something is can only be sold with other products, so essentially price books or product bundles, you can do that. Tiered pricing, usage-based billing. So this is a team that's gotten really deep into a space that HubSpot has played in, but we have not gotten really deep into. So over the next handful of quarters and years, we're going to see that product really fold into HubSpot and make our proposal, our quote editor, and our CPQ process more broadly significantly more powerful. So it's great to bring on a team that has not only seen the movie, but has been in the movie. And the movie has been quite successful for them too. Maybe I'm stretching this metaphor too long, but
No.
deep CPQ product and the rules and the governance behind the scenes of everything is what I'm particularly excited about because frankly, Bridget, that's what our customers have been asking us for. So this is all based on customer feedback and HubSpot really does lean into that and will continue to.
I love that. And we've been a HubSpot partner for 10 years now. So, and we pride ourselves on, we love HubSpot, but we can spot, when something's not quite as good as it can be, or if there's a gap in the CPQ has kind of been a little bit of a knot in our belt that we've wanted to get get over for a while. So I can see why HubSpot has decided to kind of join forces with Cacheflow. But what were the key factors from within that kind of sparked this?
Definitely. So, Bridget, per your comment right then too, HubSpot has done a really good job over the years of moving up market. Our product
Hmm.
has gotten a lot more extensibility. It's incredibly customizable now. Sometimes I'll see HubSpot portals that blow me away. The fact that people can customize literally every single panel of a given record now. It's absolutely amazing. And frankly, customer feedback drives just about everything within this business. So as we've moved up market, what we've noticed is that a lot of folks who are managing their deals within HubSpot will generally hit their water's edge with our quoting tool once they need deeper sophistication around a lot of those things underneath the hood. So our quotes tool is great. It's existed for a long time. It meets the needs of many thousands of businesses. But if you do need to go extra level of more sophisticated approvals, more sophisticated governance underneath the hood, generally what you have to do is you have to go to another tool. As I'm sure you know, Bridget, we love a good old workaround and our partners love workarounds, but some things you just can't do a workaround for. And frankly, a lot of the CPQ piece, there's just no workaround. And so HubSpot's an open system. We have a lot of different integrations. But what we hear is what we hear from our customers is we just want to do everything on your platform. We want one build, we want one tab open. We want one data set. We want one unified interface. And so we've heard that feedback for quite some time. And we thought, you know what? We've gotten really deep into payment processing. We've developed a pretty robust billing platform now. Let's get to that other step, which is that CPQ piece to really round off our revenue operating system, our revenue management system within HubSpot. So customer feedback through and through. And it's really a function of us moving up market a bit and hearing feedback around, you know what, I'm hitting the water's edge with quotes and I don't want to. I want you all to move that water's edge out. So that's really what this is all about for us.
I love that. And we've obviously worked with HubSpot for ages, and it has worked for us. Like internally, the pricing tool has worked fine for us, but we're a 50 employee company. We're not a 150 or 200. And as you mentioned, going up market and more enterprise businesses, it just gets so complicated. And it has been a deal breaker when it comes to people choosing between HubSpot and another system. But another thing I know people are going to be wondering about, and you probably can't talk about it too much in detail, but is the pricing and packaging. Can you tell us anything, or is this something that we'll hear about kind of down the road?
Stay tuned for more in 2025.
Mhm.
And things are definitely still coming together on our end. Now, when it comes to software development, pricing and packaging, and the whole enchilada on that front, you can either innovate or emulate. And when it comes to the commerce space specifically, there's been a tremendous amount of innovation. We're definitely innovating and we'll continue to. When it comes to pricing and packaging, though, you don't need to innovate that much, in my personal opinion. You can emulate a lot more. And so I don't know, frankly, exactly how things are going to play out. Stay tuned for more. I can tell you it's definitely a hot topic of conversation on our team and on our side of things right now. So more to come next year. But if
Mhm.
you look at the landscape and how that's priced, I don't see a world where we need to deviate from that too much by any means. So 2025 will be an interesting year. That I can promise. But pricing and packaging is a hot topic right now. And ultimately, just like the acquisition in the first place was driven by our customers' feedback, so will our pricing and packaging. So we're going to be listening to folks like you, Bridget, and the rest of your team to really inform everything. So excited to hopefully continue to have you folks along for the ride.
Absolutely. And we know from experience, HubSpot has always been reasonably priced. So I'm sure we can expect, not to hike up and be the most expensive thing on the market. We kind of know in that sense what's kind of in store. So I want to go back instead and talk a little bit about what you mentioned. Obviously, HubSpot's going a bit more up market, and that's why this is so important. So what kind of businesses do you think this acquisition benefits the most?
That's a great question. So right now, I'd say our quotes tool is fantastic for those who are generally like 50 to 75 employee businesses or below. Once you get to a point where you have a number of different sales teams, or maybe a number of different regions, and you need just some like hard-coded processes underneath the hood. That's generally who we're going to be solving for. Now, are we solving for the 10,000 employee businesses? Not really. Now, that doesn't exclude them, but I'd say, fewer than 250 employees is really going to be the sweet spot that we're solving for. I'd say a few specific verticals as well. Professional services and services more broadly is an area where the commerce tools have seen quite a bit of traction, and I don't see that changing at all.
Mhm.
The area that we as a Commerce Hub team have played, but not as deep as we could, I think that's about to change next year as well, especially with this acquisition, is around the SaaS space. So the Cacheflow team really focused on SaaS specifically. And so I see us being able to really solve for that in a big way. What the Cacheflow team has always chatted about, and this has very much resonated with me over the past handful of months, is if you, I don't know if you own a car, Bridget, but
You do?
I don't. But apparently, buying a Tesla online only takes about 4 minutes, and that's a like $50,000+ transaction that you can do without speaking to anyone. Yet
Mhm.
buying services or buying software is so much more difficult than literally buying a $75,000 car. And
Mhm.
so we just want to make things easier for everyone across the board. Services, SaaS to be very specific though. But if you can sell a car online for that much money that easily, we can make selling other stuff a lot easier.
I like that comparison actually, and you're right. I mean, I guess there's so much to consider, like you mentioned before, the discounts and things that tie into like the rules behind these quotes and stuff. And at the moment, it's just not kind of fit for function in that sense. So, can you walk us through more of the core functionality of Cashflow and how it might differ from traditional solutions that people might know?
Definitely. So I've mentioned some of the things around rules, governance, price books, and configuring that, tiered pricing, usage-based billing. All of those boxes are checked. There are a few other things that I'm excited about. One of them is around the data that the Cashflow product currently can give the selling team. So right now, if you send someone a quote, you can see whether or not they opened the email that you sent it in, but that's directionally accurate around did they actually engage with the quote. What the Cashflow team has done is they've given their users the ability to analyze the engagement with the proposals that they're sending. And so while the exact future of how everything will play out when it comes to the product is still coming together, I don't see that feature going away. And as I'm sure many listeners know here, we have a very robust automation functionality. So could I see a world where you can very easily create maybe a workflow that does something like if someone has engaged with the proposal for this much time or this many times within this window, then do XYZ to hopefully get them to sign it or to get them to actually
Mhm.
pay it. I think we're going to be able to give our users a tremendous amount more data around things like engagement. And so that's going to be something that I think people are really, really going to love. Another thing that is still coming together on our end in a big way is where AI plays into this.
Yeah.
HubSpot, like any other tech company nowadays, is really investing our resources and our mental energy as well into artificial intelligence. And from our EVP, our product leader and UX leader on down, we're very much mandated to think how can we incorporate AI into these products. And so, again, more to come next year, but could I see a world where we're able to take in a tremendous amount of data and really easily create a proposal in just a couple of clicks that looks exactly how you want it to look and then distribute it within a couple of seconds, definitely less than a minute? Yes, I could definitely see that too. So the AI stuff is going to be really interesting to see how it comes together as well. But you all can definitely expect something from our team and frankly, just about every other team at HubSpot on that front as well.
I love that. And that is so, those two things are very consistent with like the rest of HubSpot's offerings in terms of you can already open and track emails, that you've got the sales documents that you can see when people can click into them and things. So I can see a few ways already that that Cashflow really complements HubSpot's existing offerings. And I think you kind of mentioned it already, but is there any other ways that you can see it kind of complementing HubSpot?
I would add on top of your list, Bridget, we have a robust CMS editor. as well, where you can get into the code of everything and customize it. We
Mhm.
also have a nice WYSIWYG drag and drop editor. So could I see us using that infrastructure for you all to create custom quote templates, for example, that do not require getting into the code at all? I definitely can see that for sure. Ultimately, though, the real value prop that I see here is allowing for people to stay within HubSpot and manage all of their revenue alongside where they manage all of their customers, which is in the CRM. Right now, that's the case for a lot of businesses. But ultimately, when you do hit your water's edge, it's still difficult to adopt the rest of the commerce tools. So I was chatting with a partner a couple of weeks ago, Bridget, who was like, Jack, I think your billing tools are awesome. I totally want to use them. Payment processing totally makes sense as to why I'd want to consolidate everything within HubSpot. However, I need a little bit more underneath the hood for your quoting tool, and it doesn't really make sense for my team to jump outside of HubSpot for the quoting process and then come back into HubSpot for the billing process. We'd rather do all of our revenue management in one place. And so we're going to be able to solve for those types of people who want to use everything within HubSpot. We just can't meet their needs on that proposal side. We're going to be able to check that box in the near future so that folks can genuinely manage their commerce, their revenue, where they manage their customers, which is in the CRM where it belongs to be.
I like that. And then all that reporting, because that's the one of the gaps, I suppose, that is there at the moment. If people have to have different platforms, they're not getting that accurate reporting, or if they are there, it's going to be very manual having to import, export, all that at the moment, right?
Big time. So it's the reporting when it comes to just being able to view a unified data set. If you have all of your customer information in one place and your commerce information in a completely different place, it's hard to really understand the full picture. HubSpot also is unique in that we can really give you that closed loop reporting. So you can go to a marketing email, for example, and understand the impact to your company's bottom line from a dollar perspective that email had because we're using that dollars in the close one deal stage, or I guess pounds
Mhm.
if you're in the UK. Now, as we continue to move down this revenue, this commerce journey, you're going to be able to really, really, really have faith in all of that data. So one of our analysts on our side of things, Bridget, has an awesome stat that I like to use a lot. So the sum of all of the quotes created within HubSpot is more like just in 1 year is greater than about $28 trillion. And that's bigger than the global economy. So that is just objectively not at all true. You can type in anything that you want. However, if you're actually managing your revenue within HubSpot and you know this is an invoice that was paid and it also synced over to my accounting system, then you can know, man, this email really did impact this much. The customer journey analytics are going to get a lot more powerful. So I'm really excited about the downstream impact that this will have on our reporting functionality from a very, very, very comprehensive angle. Also automation as well. So
Mm.
another stat that I love to use, Intuit did a study a couple of years ago, so I'm sure it's higher now. There are 56.4 million hours wasted chasing down overdue invoices in the UK alone, just in the
I
UK.
can believe that. I can
And it's
100% believe that.
it's ridiculous. It's way too much time doing something that, frankly, nobody wants to do. Nobody enjoys doing that. And so it's the reporting piece, but also automation as well. That's another thing that HubSpot has figured out. Use an invoice-based workflow to redistribute that invoice or send an internal notification after X days overdue. Make your life a lot easier. So reporting and automation, we're hopefully going to unlock a tremendous amount of value for our customers as folks can truly manage their entire revenue operating system within HubSpot. That's
That's
honestly what I'm most excited about.
That's exciting. I'm excited, but I'm excited about the customer journey reporting that you mentioned there. As a marketer, obviously, I love seeing deals go through the whole pipeline and seeing at which point, marketing helped move things along a bit and things. So from a marketing perspective, I wasn't sure how much you could get a bit excited about CPQ tools because obviously it's the sales side of things, but actually the way it integrates with HubSpot, it's exciting for marketing as well.
I'm sure you've heard us say this, Bridget, but we want to make sure that marketers are getting the credit that they deserve. And ultimately, as we continue to bring revenue and commerce more broadly into HubSpot, I'm confident that you're going to be getting the credit that you deserve.
I like that. And HubSpot has always had the marketers in mind right from the start. So I like that they always keep us there.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Marketing Mary was our first persona. We're really targeting Growth Gabby now. I'm not sure if you've heard us talk about that, Bridget, but we're very much solving for those growth oriented businesses that want to scale. But we haven't forgotten about marketing Bridget in this case by any
Marketing
means.
Reddit, I like that. I want to digress slightly and can you explain to just the people that are listening, the growth Gabby persona? Because I'm sure a lot of people will resonate with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Um, I think, frankly, this is kind of HubSpot getting back to our early days. When I started at this company, every single meeting that we had mentioned marketing Mary. So, regardless of the function that you were in, regardless of your role at the company, you knew this is the person that we're building these tools for. This is the person we want to live in their shoes. We want to understand their problems. We want to understand the things that they don't like, and we want to understand the things that they love. And now, Growth Gabby is that persona that we're solving for. So the way that I think about Growth Gabby is someone who is looking at every single corner of their business and looking for areas of optimization, whether that's from a tech stack for perspective, whether it's team handoffs, whether it's savings, whether it's revenue opportunities and new revenue streams, whatever it may be. Growth Gabby is that person that's looking at the entire picture of the customer facing teams and the go to market more broadly and thinking about how that can be improved. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not still solving for the folks that are comfortable at, kind of sailing as is, but at the same time, we really do want to solve for those businesses that are all about scaling up. And frankly, I think that the Cacheflow acquisition is very much in line with that. We've worked with a ton of startups, and I've spoken with them myself, that are growing incredibly quickly, and they're like, you know what, Jack, I need to plan for the future. I need to think a year or two out because we have really aggressive growth goals. And I know that I'm going to need to bake in some more standardization into my process. What can you do for me? Now I can really answer that confidently and say, we're going to have these tools, get up and running with us. And you're going to be able to grow into these big pants as you continue to scale up. So Growth Gabby is who we're solving for. I think that this Cacheflow acquisition is very much speaking to those types of people who are thinking about those long-term with aggressive growth goals.
And it comes in at a time when not you personally, but HubSpot as a whole has acquired Clearbit. And obviously now we've got all the Breeze Intelligence tools, which we love. We're experimenting with them ourselves. And that's been a really big update, obviously. The Cacheflow is another really big update. And so would you say this is the roadmap and the growth strategy that ties in with Gabby and you're kind of growing to fit their needs?
I don't know about that, Bridget. I think that that would be a little bit too lofty of a statement because HubSpot is, I never want to say never, obviously, but there are a few things that I'm confident that HubSpot will not get too deep into. I don't think we're going to be building into the back office, for example, at any point in the future. So I don't see us being that company that just buys up a bunch of other firms and grows by acquisition and bolts on their software onto ours. I very much see us keeping to the crafted, not cobbled story. And that will allow for people to hopefully continue to love HubSpot. It's a very lovable tool because it looks and feels consistent. You alluded to that a little bit earlier, Bridget. So when it comes to, is this how we're going to solve for Growth Gabby moving forward? No. I'm confident in saying that we're not just going to be growing by acquisition by any means. I see us being very, very thoughtful and targeted about the things that we want to do. So, for example, we can take a few years to build out this quote tool ourselves, or we can pour some gas on the fire by bringing on the Cacheflow team and then not just throwing orange colors on their product by any means. We are building it on HubSpot through and through. And it's the same thing that you've seen with Breeze. If you all had never heard about Clearbit, you'd be able to jump right into HubSpot and it looks, feels, and operates like absolutely everything else. So again, I never want to say never, but just getting out my crystal ball, I see us very much staying true to the crafted, not cobbled concept. So you all should not expect the Cacheflow product to have an orange color and a HubSpot logo on it, and for it to remain the same. We're going to HubSpotify it. And I don't know if that's a verb, but maybe I'm starting to maybe coin it a little bit. So we're going to HubSpotify it.
I like that. And I think you mentioned it then, but HubSpot is lovable because even when a new update comes out, like the Breeze Intelligence, for example, I could go into it straight away and I knew exactly how to work it. I didn't need hours and hours to train myself on how to use it because the UI is the same across the board. Everything is the same, and it was so easy to use. And I imagine that's what's going to happen with the Cacheflow as well. You're going to have some time to get your head around it, obviously, because it's a new tool, but you don't need to teach your team how to use a new system. So people are going to be saving time, they're going to be saving money, not just from not purchasing a new tool, but on the time saved as well, would you say?
Big time. And just like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that we have a very deliberate focus on artificial intelligence and growth, Gabby. The third thing that, and this is the last, that HubSpot is just pounding on, and I think it's fantastic, easy, fast, and unified. So we want this to be extraordinarily easy to adopt. So yes, it's going to look and feel like everything else. The learning curve is going to be really easy, I hope. It's going to be fast. Our hope is that you see value out of it absolutely immediately as well. And it's going to be unified from a data perspective, from how it speaks to our automation and reporting tools as well. So yes, absolutely. And then the other piece of easy and fast specifically is so much of this is being built for the reps who are using it in their day-to-day. But for CPQ specifically, it's that leadership function that needs to be able to bake in guardrails. And so those leaders, those managers, directors, whatever it may be, will be able to go in and set up those guardrails and then not have to think about it anymore. And more importantly, not have to have your reps think about it, because the more time that they're thinking about straddling systems and data hygiene and making sure this goes there, the less time that they're spending building relationships with their customers and their prospects. And that's ultimately what salespeople want to do. So our hope is that it's going to be extremely easy and fast to use, but also you're not going to have to think very much and instead spend your time building relationships.
And that ties in so well with we attended the Grow event in London a couple of weeks ago, and a stat that was thrown out was that sales reps only spend, I think it was like 2 hours a day actually talking to customers, and I can totally see how this tool is gonna help widen that gap and give them back that more time.
Hope so. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see it completely flip where it's only 2 hours managing systems, actually 2 minutes managing systems, ideally, recognizing that that's lofty. But yeah, we definitely want to flip that on its head in a big, big way. And again, that's what people want to be doing. They don't want to be chasing overdue invoices. They don't want to be speaking to finance about, can I do this versus this, and getting it rejected and then having to send it out again. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to spend their time doing that.
No, we want those sales cycles to be shorter. We want to be speaking to customers. That's what the sales reps want. So I know we're coming up to time now, so I've just got one more question, and I'm not expecting a fully fledged answer, I'm not going to lie, but can you give us any kind of timeline for when we can expect these features out?
You will hear more from us in 2025. That I know. We are going to be appropriately loud in 2025 on this. Now, things do take time. Again, if we wanted to relaunch Cacheflow tomorrow by just putting our orange colors on it and the HubSpot logo in the upper left, we could do that, but we will not be doing that. So definitely more to come in 2025. I'd say if you're using our quotes tool today, if you're using our commerce tools today, absolutely nothing changes. We're going to continue to innovate on that. We're not dropping those roadmaps by any means. And so this is purely additive. This is purely, let's pour more gas onto the Commerce Hub fire internally. So if you're using the tools currently, they're only going to get better. I promise you that. And then you're going to see a lot of really cool stuff on the CPQ side of things next year. So stay tuned for a lot more, but you will be hearing from us in 2025, that I can promise.
And that was kind of the answer I think we all expected, but it's still exciting. So with that, I think we're going to round off now. So Jack, thank you so much. I have learned so much. I'm so excited now for the, the CPQ tools to come out, even though I personally won't be using them. So thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll be reaching out again when it does all launch, and might get some quotes from you on what your favorite features are, and we can do a little piece on that.
I'm sure I'll have plenty of thoughts. I'd love to keep the conversation going. Thank you, Bridget, for including me here today. I've definitely enjoyed the conversation. And folks, stay tuned for a lot more from myself and the Commerce Hub team here at HubSpot, because we're going to keep our foot on the gas pedal in a really, really big way. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well if you want to learn a little bit more, get early access to anything, or just learn more about how our teams are thinking about things. Don't hesitate to reach out. But a lot more to come next year. I'm super excited about it. And Bridget and team, I hope you all are too.
We are. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you, Bridget.